Ever wish you could play PC games anywhere you want? Imagine a PC in the palm of your hands on the go. Meet Valve's all-new Steam Deck. What's up, you guys? It's OptionsFinest. Thanks for joining me on this video. Let's go over what we've got here. We've got a mini computer that houses all of your favorite Steam games in one compact device. You can only guess they had a lot of inspiration from the Nintendo Switch. Upon first glance, the buttons are a little bit different, and there's a lot more capabilities to them. So you can see here the 4 buttons on the right. Flipping it over to the back, there's 2 buttons that you can program yourself that you use for anything you want. Yeah, you use them with your fingers, it's easy. Kind of smells like a brand new Nerf gun if you ever had that as a kid. You're gonna notice that there's vents, one on the back and one on the top. This evenly distributes the heat that gets produced when you're playing, and you do notice when it starts to play an intensive game, it gets hot. On the bottom, a microSD port where you can expand your storage, but we'll get to that later. When turning the system on, you're greeted with a satisfying Steam animation and brought to the normal home screen that you're used to seeing on the Steam computer version. You can look around for the frequent games and Steam Deck approved games that work well with the Steam Deck in particular. There are some restrictions as to which kinds of games will work on the deck, indicated at the store page before downloading them. They even describe which features in the game might not be supported, so you can decide if you'd like to try them regardless. Here's another example of a game that isn't fully supported, but can run on the deck nonetheless. You can tell at the top there's lots of exclamation points that mean different things aren't supported in the game. You can choose whether or not if you want to play it or leave it alone. Now, before we get into gameplay, let's go back to what I mentioned earlier with the SD card slot. If you didn't know, you can upgrade the storage with a physical SD card. This means you can buy an unlimited amount of storage and constantly swap out cards if you like. What's great about this is it means you can buy the 64GB version and save money in the process. The 512GB version of the Steam Deck comes out to $800 alone, and that's not even including tax. Meanwhile, a 512GB SD card will only cost you around $60. Now, I know the speeds aren't on par with internal storage, but it's still very good, and there's very little latency that you will actually notice from the game not loading. So if you're smart, you can get the most out of this guy. Not to mention the deck's ability to go desktop mode. If you want to know more about that, I can do a whole separate video on it, but what I can tell you is there's the very real ability to turn this into a portable PC that runs on Linux. It's a very interesting feature. Now let's get into some gameplay. When I was filming this video, I took the time to play Rocket League. Since I played it on the Switch before, it felt very similar. If you've ever used the Switch before, you'll notice the Steam Deck feels a bit bigger in your hands, and it feels like your hands are kind of farther apart. But that's something you get used to. Jumping into a training for the first time, I was getting my bearings, and it's a lot different than using a controller or a Nintendo Switch. There's more buttons at your disposal, which can be confusing at times and sometimes get in the way, but it's not that hard to get used to. Jumping into a competitive match now. It took me a while to really understand how to, feel comfortable on this. As you can see here, I miss right in the air, and it makes as you can see, I missed there in the air, and it really didn't feel good because it didn't feel like I was able to actually control my car the way I wanted to. But it took me a few games to get there, so it's really just, the more you play, the better you get. So this game, my teammate was pretty good in picking up sets that I would leave for him, and we ended up winning by a forfeit. In the next game, this one was more challenging because it seemed like they were higher ranked, and I really had to do more here. I can tell I'm still getting used to the controls, but I'm able to hit a little bit more shots than I was before, except for that one. That one I just completely missed, and that was just not feeling comfortable with the controls on it yet, to be honest. But I get something in there finally. So at the end of the day, the game ended in a loss, but I still learned a lot. Now that's everything I wanted to show you guys about the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. If there's anything else that you would like to see, leave a comment down below and let me know. With that all said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.